Hi, Jami. Welcome.
Hey.
This is Jami Gordon with Pinnacle Realty. And how long have you been in the business, Jami?
Going on 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
What made you want to be in real estate?
Well, it was never part of the plans.
Yeah.
I literally drove by a sign in my community and called that number and said, hey, how can I help? I was working in economic development at the time and thought, hey, what's coming to my area and what can I do to, help the community?
Mm-hmm.
And
so what did the sign say then?
it's just for sale. It was literally in like a
So you
area.
called the realtor.
I did, and it was
Okay.
in an area that was being developed, and we had coffee, and I said, how can I help you? And she said, you can come work for me.
Oh, I like
Said-
that.
Said, why? Because I didn't have a background in real estate, and
Yeah.
that's when she said, well, you're good with people. I think you'll do great. And I had to think about it for a while.
Yeah.
So
Because it's a lot of sacrifice too.
absolutely.
What do you think? What do you think the biggest sacrifice is?
Time with family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that you don't have a steady paycheck.
Oh, yes. Well, those are probably hand in hand, but I think the one that hurts the worst is, when you have to miss something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and I think that's a good reason to get into it is service, that of others. And I think that's important to have that why in there
Right.
when you go into this. Mm-hmm. So other things that you do, you are on the MLS committee. Can you kind of
Yes.
explain like what that is and what that entails?
Absolutely. So the MLS committee is part of the Cedar Rapids Area Association of Realtors, and that is the multiple listing services. So we're really in charge of like the forms and the database that's involved that realtors use on a day-to-day basis. Mm-hmm. So I joined that board, I think it was my second or third year in real estate, and I didn't really know what I was doing.
Sure.
When I joined it, 'cause it just looked interesting because I'm kind of a data person.
Okay, good.
And I like my numbers, and I was like, oh, this kind of looks fun. And what I didn't know is that I was going to be joining an amazing group of very senior realtors, and I've learned so much, and it has really allowed me an opportunity to see a different view of things.
Yeah.
And some of these changes in our industry
Right.
kind of was on the front end of that, and just a lot of really interesting conversation. Yeah.
So you did bring some numbers for us
I
that you
did.
thought were kind of exciting, and I do
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I think it's important to look at data and stats to see instead of guessing. Like you and I thought there was about 900 realtors in this area.
I mean, it feels like it, right?
Yes, exactly. What's the real number?
It's 746. I pulled the stats this morning.
Wow.
And what I thought was super interesting is it was 746 at the end of 2019. So 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know we had to do that.
Yeah. We had to
Almost
do like
6,
Yeah.
right? No.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
We're not good with numbers.
Yeah. We have to pull them and verify and
But I think that's kind of interesting because I know, like, I came on in 2021,
Yeah.
and there was an influx of real estate agents.
Yes. I mean, I even have that number, girl. Like it went up to 800, so
Okay.
we had 50 more, but I got to keep in mind that there's people that drop out, people that
Yeah.
retire. So
Yeah.
it did kick up. I think 2022 is when it was kind of at its height. It was 821.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What other stats did you bring?
Yeah. So I was really looking at like the number of units, average price range, and because, our houses have skyrocketed, right? So in 2019, it was 170, our average price range was like 176.
In what year was that?
2019.
It was 176.
Yeah, right? So
Wow.
that's for a 3-bedroom home, right?
Okay.
So it was like, and now today we're at like 230-ish.
Yeah. So what
What
do
a
you think
jump.
that does for the first-time home buyer?
Oh, it's expensive to try to find a house, right? So I think there's more people that are waiting a little bit longer. And we're hearing about, kids are staying home a little bit longer to try to save up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some. Mine didn't. But yeah.
We'll see what mine do.
But I think that's, that does play into it.
Right.
because I think the interest rates too do make a difference. You know, everybody, when it goes up, your payment goes up. So I think that's a big factor. Before, it was like when we were in the 2 and the 3s, it didn't make sense to pay rent. You
Right.
could buy a house and, you know,
Yes.
have an investment. And now it's kind of creeping back up there where it's like,
Yeah.
let's put more down, you know, or whatever you need to do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So how many houses were sold in like 2019?
Yeah. That was the other one that I was like, wow, that's so crazy. So that was 3,200. And last year we were at 2,700.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I think we're still, need houses to sell, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was told like there used to be 2,500-ish houses on the market at one point. At one, now we're down to like 1,000 or
Right.
1,200. We looked yesterday. I think we're at 1,215 right now. So we're still way below inventory.
We are, and we're hearing in the news it's a buyer's market. Yes, there's some more negotiation, right? Are you seeing that? Like, we're able to negotiate sometimes closing costs and things like that, where a year ago, it was really hard to negotiate that in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and 3 years ago or 2 years ago, people were bypassing inspections.
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
scared the heck
Because
out
now
of me.
we're seeing all those houses coming back on the market and nobody did inspections. And
Right.
now the people that are trying to sell, they're like getting this big surprise of what they actually bought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, when your clients are losing, bid after bid, offer after offer, they throw in the towel and they say, you know what, we'll waive inspections to get it. And it really didn't do justice to
No.
people. And it as an agent, it's scary for us too because, we want them to have the best experience, get the best house,
Absolutely.
not have problems, and it just, so I am seeing like where people, they'll put the house on the market now, their buyers getting inspections and there's things coming up that they didn't expect.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing the same thing.
What's the biggest thing you're seeing?
I would say that sometimes there's surprises. Well, I actually post derecho too.
Yes.
Hiring contractors that were fly by night
Yeah.
because we were in such a shortage of contractors at that time.
Yeah.
So now we're finding they didn't do something right. you
Right.
know? And where are they to cover their warranty?
Yeah.
They're nowhere around. So now that lands right on the homeowner.
So, speaking of warranties, roofs, like when we had our roof done, which was right after we bought our house 15 years ago, whatever, we had a 30-year warranty on that. A lot of the roofers we talk to now are not putting warranties on because insurance isn't going to cover a roof that long.
Right.
So another thing we're finding is our new buyers have to really pay attention to how old the roof is on the house because they may not get insured for it. Have you ran into that yet?
I have, absolutely. Actually, I got a text yesterday from a house that I was representing the seller on a couple years ago, and he was trying to get new insurance because his insurance quote went way up. So their buyer's agent texted me and said, hey, can you get some documentation on that? Well, my person didn't have it either because it was replaced prior to them owning it. So insurance companies are asking a ton of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a condo that the roof was in okay shape, but it was 20 years old. And so my buyer wasn't able to find insurance at all.
Oh, man.
And we went back to the table and negotiated a brand new roof. The seller put a brand new roof on
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Sometimes we have to do that.
Yeah.
It just, yeah.
Yeah. But
it's a
these
surprise
are-
expense.
very much,
Yeah.
like 20 grand. But I was thankful that they did that for my buyer. But it also really alerted us on what's going on.
Yes.
And to be, even before you show the house, check that roof, check what the age is, and let your buyer know that might be a problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of other things I've talked to other realtors is the Orangeburg situation.
Oh, yes.
So that's, and a lot of people, can you explain to the public, what Orangeburg is? A lot of people don't know.
Yes. Orangeburg is like cardboard in a pipe, so it's going to, over the time, it's going to collapse and cause some issues. It's easy for root intrusion to happen with Orangeburg pipe. I had one around COVID that I had sold and they waived. He's like, well, we're just going to waive. I need to move. I'm like, oh, gosh. And sometimes Orangeburg is just up to the street. Sometimes you have to go a little further into the street. So the expense can be like, $5,000, $7,000.
Yeah,
It can
10,
be,
right.
Yes, it can be
Yeah.
really expensive. So
the Orangeburg was what they used after World War II.
Right.
Because they didn't have the materials. And so it had about a 50-year lifespan.
it was their shortcut though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But now homeowners are, kind of paying the price, if you will.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
another thing coming down the pike, and I need to do more research on it, but is the lead pipe situation.
Oh gosh. Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of buyers aren't aware of this either, or sellers, because they just changed is it this year they just changed it, or it's coming?
I
When
think
is
it's
it going to go into
coming.
full effect? And it's going to be, if your house has lead pipes, you're going to need to replace all of them.
That's kind of what I'm hearing. I don't honestly have a ton of background on it. I've read about it,
Okay,
but
yeah.
has it come to our area yet?
It can stay away.
It can stay down south.
Yeah, exactly. Because it is another expense for sellers that you're necessarily not planning on.
Right.
I don't know if they'll do it like the Orangeburg thing where, if it comes up in an inspection, then we're going to have to negotiate that, or...
I would be curious if, because it's going to impact so many houses, I wonder if the government's going to do something.
Yeah, kind of like maybe a grant or something towards
Yes.
that. So,
Yes.
yeah, well, we will wait for that, right?
As soon as we know,
Yeah.
I'll let y'all know, right? Yeah.
But and that's another thing. We got to keep ahead of all of this stuff. A, to educate our sellers, B, to educate our buyers, because it is a factor in, negotiating and understanding what you're getting yourself into when you buy
Right.
a house.
Because most people, that's their biggest investment ever.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. For
yeah.
sure. And there was a time where, if we would have had, I don't know, $5,000 expense in our life, that it would have really been an issue for us.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
yeah.
Especially when you have children. and-
Yes,
yeah,
right.
absolutely.
I'd rather take $5,000 and take a vacation.
I mean, who wouldn't?
For sure.
Right?
Yeah. So what other stats? Is there anything else you wanted to talk about as far as stats goes, or?
Well, I would say the number of units has gone down about 20%. So that was one thing that we kind of touched on.
So when you say units, are you
Yeah.
talking sales, or are you talking
the number of homes
being sold?
being sold, yes. That's
$20,000
gone
from
down
2019.
about 20%.
Or 20%.
Over the last 5 years. And then the average house price has gone up about 30. Is that interesting?
Do you think that's why? Because we're pricing some buyers out of the market?
I think it's, the shortage of inventory. So it's the supply and demand.
Yeah.
So they're having to raise the price. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because when I came on, I think our inventory was like 400 houses.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is. So it is slowly ticking up. But it's always going to swing. We'll never stay in one spot. So,
No.
It's really hard to time the market with that too.
Right. Yeah.
I think, there's always going to be, there's the 5 Ds. Do you know what the 5 Ds are?
Okay. So
Diapers,
divorce,
death,
diamonds.
What's that 5th one?
Oh, gosh.
Do you know, Logan?
Is it relocation? It's something with relocation, isn't it?
I'm not sure, but it's a D.
Oh my gosh.
I
You're
know.
quizzing me
I'm told,
today.
I'm drawing a blank too.
You know, somebody out there's going, I know that D.
Google it, Logan.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's always going to be a need for moving.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yes.
I know at one point interest rates were like 19%, 12%. So that's, people still bought and sold houses back then.
Yes.
So
Well, we went to that event not too long ago, just about foreclosures, that we're going to be seeing an influx of those, or expecting here soon. And I was like in the top, what was it, like 10 states.
Yeah.
It was kind of a crazy thing to like really think about, and it's primarily because your property insurance is going up, your regular homeowner's insurance is going up, so it's becoming less and less affordable to own a home.
Right.
And now hopefully they'll be able to contact their mortgage lender and work something out, and that's that's the ultimate goal, is to try to work something out. But some people just won't be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if, that's the other thing we learned in that class too, is you have equity in that house. So try to get it on the market instead of just walking away from it.
Absolutely.
So try to get at least some money back, or,
Yeah.
And
And
I
don't
thought-
ignore those notices in the mail, because that's what I'm afraid of, is that people are going to be almost, ashamed and not want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And just keep pushing it aside and be like, no, they won't kick us out of our house. Yes, eventually they will. And by that point, your equity is gone.
Right.
You're in a worse position. So you just have to face the facts and try to figure something out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you and I took that class, and it was really interesting to see that statistic, and just, it's scary. Hopefully it won't come to that.
Right.
But,
Yes.
nobody wants to see somebody lose their house.
No.
That's, that's not fun for anybody. So,
No.
yeah, that was a good class though. So
Really quickly before you move on.
Yeah.
AI says there's 6 Ds. It was diamonds, diapers, death, divorce, debt, and distress.
Debt and distress.
duh.
There we go.
I don't know.
And we
there
just
might-
kind of went into that, debt and distress.
Yeah, we
right
did.
there.
Right.
Naturally.
And it makes sense. And maybe you can group 1 or 2 of those together and get your 5 Ds, but
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
idea.
Thank you, Logan.
Yes, thank you.
I was
My
really
pleasure.
just teasing for you to Google it.
That's what I'm here for.
There we go.
I appreciate that, but that does make sense. It does make sense. So
Yeah. Yes.
So getting back to like this community, you live in Center Point,
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
and so are you like what territories do you cover with your? real
I would
estate?
say within an hour of Cedar Rapids is kind of like where I generally cover. So I've gone, Independence area, Vinton.
You grew up around that area.
Yeah, I grew up a little bit north of there. But,
Okay.
and I have shown houses in a little bit further north, but it really depends on my knowledge in the area.
Yeah.
Because going down to Des Moines and showing homes doesn't really make sense because I don't know their market as well. It's different. It's definitely different than ours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but going to Iowa City, not a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a little bit more similar.
Absolutely.
There are differences in Iowa City.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
So I spoke to other realtors down there. They're like, yeah, we're, about 30% higher priced because, you got your college there, you have the hospital there and things like that.
Right.
So that is always something to keep in mind if you're looking to move to the area, that Iowa City is going to be a little more expensive. I love Iowa City, though.
I do too. It has a fun vibe.
It does. It's just full of energy, and it's just, I don't know. Yeah, I always like it, and I love the houses down there too.
They have some fun character.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, what about this area? Do you enjoy the most? Well, like, what does your family do in this area?
We're kind of homebodies.
Okay. Okay.
We lived in town for a number of years, and I guess that was kind of a reason to get into real estate too, because I thought maybe it would be a little easier to find what we were looking for.
Self-server.
Yep. And I had been studying the market for a while. And I had some bad experiences too with realtors in the past too. So I was like, gosh, there's got to be a better way of doing this. But back to what we do is my husband trains dogs.
Okay.
And he's also a carpenter.
Yep.
And we live in the country. I just love being home.
Yeah. Hey,
I
that's
love
wonderful.
Yeah, just hanging out outside. And sometimes we come in town and do a few things, but we like to go to baseball games.
Yeah.
But there's not a ton to do around here, but we also are just homebodies, so it really doesn't matter. Sorry, that was kind of boring.
No, that's not boring. I mean, I feel as I'm showing houses and stuff, people really are making their homes into their sanctuaries.
Absolutely.
You know, where before, I mean, you can just kind of tell now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing more hot tubs and swimming pools and theater rooms. Kind of your own entertainment center, if you will.
So I was part of a networking group for quite a few years, and we were coming up with our pitch, how we talk about, how we do things differently. Like, gosh, with over 800 realtors, how do I compare, differentiate myself?
Yes.
And I was like, home is really a place, like, you have to love where you live, and it impacts how you live.
Yes.
Right?
I agree.
And really understanding that whole experience and how to build your foundation as your home is your equity. That's where you can start building. Mm-hmm. So, when you say at home is kind of where people have their sanctuary. And I was like, especially in 2020, did you not see like
100%,
all of a sudden there's people are like putting pools in and they're putting their decks up, and they're just really, really realizing what they have and how to make it really cool.
My husband built a wood shop in our third stall garage. Mm-hmm. And, he's still to this day loves doing it. Yeah. But which I think is great. And, I think for just for people with this crazy stuff going on in the world, mm-hmm. you need to walk into your front door and just let it, just loose.
Relax, right?
And just be like, this is, and with the kids, when raising the kids, you wanted this to be safety, and security and
all the fear in the world, right?
Yes.
I mean, it was so different too in 2020, 2021 when our kids were home, trying to do schooling, and I thought, gosh, it's such a blessing that I'm in the career that I am,
right?
Because I'm able to actually be home. I couldn't imagine if I was working at home as like somebody that actually had to be on the phone with people like all of the time and had to be checked in all the time. Oof.
With the kids and the dogs.
Oh, yes. Well, and when I would take a phone call, you say the kids and the dogs, even when the kids were little, I used to, I remember when they were like 3 years old and they'd need my attention all of the time. Uh-huh. So I would be like, guys, I just have to take this one phone call. And then the tantrum would happen or something would happen and you're just like, okay, what do I do? So I'd go back to my bedroom and I'd lock my door and it'd be like, I'll be out in a minute. And then they're like kicking the door. And then we're running over to I'm going to my bathroom. And then I'll lock my bathroom because I'm like, oh, that door's coming open pretty soon.
Right, exactly.
And then hiding in the back of my shower, trying to have a conversation without like, oh my gosh. And
I know.
I remember one time my oldest he got through the barrier and I'm like, oh crap. And I was talking to a brand new, it was, a Zillow lead. So it was somebody I'd never met before. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be a terrible impression.
And you want to present professionalism.
Right.
And you got, mommy.
Yes, because, you get those phone calls at 8 o'clock at night and it's not like between 8 and 5. It's like I'm home with my kids.
Yes, exactly. And most people on the other end understand that. So,
I think so, yes.
It's just, I would go sit in my car in my garage.
Oh, yes.
And have a conversation.
My husband would be like, what? Are you home yet? I'm like, I'd be texting him while I'm talking to somebody. I'm literally like I'm out of sight because, when you pull into your driveway and you
yeah.
have dogs,
Oh, yeah. They
they're
know you're
just
home.
barking away. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
used to like make sure that I was out of sight.
Yes, yes. Same thing here. And I'm sure everybody else out there too can identify with that.
Yes.
But
Yes.
no, it is crazy. And I did the Zillow leads too. So I think, when you get that call in, you really want to make a really good impression.
Absolutely.
Because we get a call in when we're doing other things. So
Yes.
it can be kind of you might be cooking dinner.
Oh, my kids would get so upset. And that's why I don't do it anymore. I mean, I did it for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I would get a phone call at dinner and my husband would be like, you probably should go get that. I'm like, no, this is my time with my family.
Right,
Like,
right.
I will let that ring. I'll get the next one.
Yeah, yeah.
And because it was like, I was newer and the money was important, he'd be like, no,
Yes.
it's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So the Z word became kind of like almost a swear word in our family. It was just like,
That's me too. Oh, I know.
yeah. In soccer games, I remember
Mm-hmm.
my phone would ring and I'm like, I got to go to the bathroom. And I would not tell my family that, oh no, I was not going to the bathroom.
So that's kind of your red flag to be like, this isn't working for us.
Oh,
you know what I
yes.
mean? And just,
Yes.
yeah.
It wasn't worth like taking all of the phone calls, fielding all of them, all the time it took.
Yeah. Yeah.
When the important thing is to work with the people around you and the people that you love and like the most, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And when I realized that, I'm like, I just need to take care of my sphere, my people, and really help to educate them, keep them in front of everything, and everything will be just fine. And
Yeah.
it was. It
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good, and I think a lot of people that call in to Zillow don't realize that we're just the next agent to take the call.
Yeah. They think we're the listing agent, right?
Yeah.
And we're
so-
not.
No. So
Yeah.
sometimes you get calls that really wanted to know a lot about the house, and you'd say, well, I'm a buying agent, and, this is what, let me find out for you, and then
Right.
go from there. So, yeah, it was interesting. And then kind of the buyer agreements came in. Explain to people that what all that entailed, because it came out of this lawsuit with NAR, and it's kind of making us do a contract with buyers now. So
Right. Yeah. Because I think it really came down to education, right? It's that people were not educating the general public on how real estate compensation was being paid out. And they made a lot of assumptions. And so now it's forcing us to explain, hey, this is how it typically is paid out. And I think it's just a good conversation to have anyway. I mean, thankfully, I'd already been doing buyer consultations, but not everybody was,
Sure.
especially people that were going online to these third-party sites and pressing talk to an agent.
Right.
And they're thinking they're talking to the listing agent when they're talking to a round robin, and they could be getting somebody that's brand spanking new.
Yeah. Yeah.
And doesn't know anything, or somebody that's really terrible.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so but then they're having to sign these agreements, but they can do one day agreement with that person.
Yeah, non-exclusive.
Exactly.
I think too with my clients, when you explain to them, I am working for you, this solidifies you a spot, because I'll only work with so many people at once
Absolutely.
because of service. I don't want to be where I can't answer their phone call or take them on a showing. So, it really helps to build that relationship between you and the buyer.
Yes.
And I have found clients appreciate that.
Yes, I agree. 100%.
Because if you go out there and you're looking at 5 different homes with 5 different agents, they really can't tell what you're looking for. They, they want to get to know you, what your why is for the house, what you're looking for.
Yes.
And, because I know too, we talk all the time to each other. If we hear a house coming down the pike that's going to be listed next week and it fits perfect for my buyer,
Yes.
boom.
Yes.
I'm on the phone with that agent.
Absolutely.
So I see it as a win-win.
And I only do exclusive.
Yeah,
Is that what
I
you
do
do?
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, when you're showing a house and you're listening to the comments that they're making about, oh gosh, I don't know if our bed's going to fit in here. So then you're just like, okay, now I need to look at the dimensions of the room need to be this.
Yes.
Or,
yes.
I don't really like that. I can't let my dog out the back. Oh, we should make sure there's a door to the
Yes.
backyard, right?
Yeah.
Just those little things that you're building on, and you find you're like, okay, I know what the perfect house for you is.
Yes.
Even though you've already had a buyer's consultation, but when you walk through a few houses, like that just builds your list of needs and wants. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it's super valuable.
Yeah.
To have that person working for you.
Absolutely.
I just, if I was to hire a real estate agent, what are the top 5 things you'd look for with them?
I would want to make sure, first of all, our personalities matched.
Yes.
That they were a full-time realtor. That's one thing that I don't think a lot of people ask is like, hey, is this your full-time gig?
Right.
Yeah, it is. This is
Yeah.
what I do. And also that they're just a really good communicator, that they're going to be available when I need them to be. So I talk about schedules and, gosh, if I'm not available, I make sure that I have somebody that is. But I try to not overbook myself, and make sure that availability is there. And also just has just general good knowledge.
Yes. Knowledge of neighborhoods and
Right.
and to somebody that can get along with the other agent.
Oh, yes. That's a good one. We could talk all day about that. Right?
You want somebody that is a good negotiator and that isn't emotional, but can be like bring the whole team together. And I say this a lot to my clients. I look at like the inspector, lender, appraiser, other agent on the other side. We're a team.
It's all the negotiation, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And you really have to get along.
Yeah.
Even in a tough situation.
Yes.
You can always work it out. Mm-hmm. There's always, whether it takes 10 phone calls or a meeting, there's ways to work it out. So I think that's super important too.
Absolutely.
Do you remember a situation where you did go in and you did have an issue and you worked it through? Can you just explain what that looked like? And just because for people out there, it might be like, what could come up that would be so,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean? That would be so hard.
Yes, yes. So I had one where I actually was representing the sellers, and this was at the very beginning of my career, and I'd met them again through Zillow. This is my first year and a half.
Okay.
And just not very kind.
Yeah.
And we had a septic issue. We went to do the time of transfer, which is required in the state of Iowa to be done before you sell your property that has a septic system. So it needs to pass that test, right? Make sure it works.
Right.
And their house had sat vacant for a long time. And they didn't want to do this time of transfer right away. I'm like, and I wasn't educated enough to be like, oh, that's a big red flag, right?
Right.
Well,
right.
it's a big red flag.
Yeah.
So they did it after we were under contract, which is not great to do. And then just did not want to do anything with it. They're like, nope, we're selling cash. This is how we're doing it. And
but it's the law.
I was like, it is the law.
Yeah.
Like, we have to do this.
Yeah.
And they were very mean, and I was trying to present it in a very professional manner and just got to be swearing. And I said that when you're ready to talk in a professional manner, please call me back.
Yeah.
And they called me back.
Because they want to sell their house.
Well, because after I said that, then there was a few more curse words, and I was like, goodbye, I'm done talking right now. So I ended the phone conversation, gave myself a few deep breaths, I said a few prayers just to try to get through it. Right. And the blessing is that the people on the buy side were wonderful people. Like, I still talk to them today.
Yeah.
Patient.
Good.
Just amazing. Mm-hmm. We got through it. But it was just incredibly stressful to go back and forth, and they just didn't want to do anything and just were being very rude. And And at that time, I think I took things more personal as well. Because I was, again, when you're new, you just don't know. And I was really beating myself up over it. And to the point where I actually was in the hospital, and it was just not good. And it was really hard on my family as well, because also they were never available until like 11 p.m. I go to bed at 9.
Right.
I'm up at 4:30. Like I had to set an alarm to talk to them.
Yes.
So that was probably one of my hardest.
Okay.
And what that did, though, I'm grateful for it.
Right.
Because what that did was it helped me create boundaries.
Yes.
Like I have to ask more questions to make sure that I align with them.
Yes.
So during that buyer's consultation or the listing presentation, I'm really kind of checking them out to be like, hey, I'm not for everybody and everybody's not for me.
Absolutely.
And that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think listing presentations are really important because this is one of the most stressful things that people go through.
Yes.
Is selling their homes. And, you want to make sure, like I'm a pretty straight talker. Some people like things more sugar coated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you're in that, like with your clients, they weren't wanting to do what it took. And that's really hard when you're trying to orchestrate getting across the finish line. You've got a buyer that's getting a U-Haul truck ready to go, and it's just you have to bring those skills to the forefront and say, either, I've had deals fall apart.
Oh, yeah.
I've had a lender blow a deal apart for me. It was with an HOA situation, and it was 3 days before closing, and it was
those are the
horrible.
worst. That's, because it impacts so many people. Right?
Well, absolutely, and luckily the listing agent on the other side was awesome. Because when the rubber meets the road, there's not a darn thing we can do about it.
Right.
It was out of our hands. The lender dropped the ball and didn't check in with the HOA until 3 days.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I know what you mean with the emotional toll that it takes on you. But again, as we learn, we can't take it personal. Those things are out of our control. And I think for you and I, that's a big deal. We like to control.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's really trusting others and making sure that your team is trustworthy and, you're all on the same page.
And do you have that conversation during that listing presentation about, here's what your team consists of, and your lender and the other agent are big pivotal matters, and we're going to be looking at all of that. So when that when that loan officer comes across your offer and you've already had a deal sink because of them, then you're really having that conversation again of, hey, this is why we need to negotiate back that they get pre-approval from another lender that's actually going to do all of the digging in the beginning.
Yes.
So we don't have these surprises at the end.
Yeah. And that's, for the general public, they don't really understand. Kara and I touched a bit last time on pre-qual and pre-approval. So, a lot of people think I can call and tell them what I make and they can give me a pre-qualified letter, which they have to do.
Right.
So that's our job to say, I want a pre-approval. They're going to need to check your employment, your salary, your
assets,
XYZ.
income.
Everything beforehand.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't realize when you get under contract, that's just the start.
Right.
And I always tell my clients, keep one foot on the ground.
Yes, that first week.
Yes, because you've got underwriting going on. You've got insurance. We talked about, the getting into the roof and
Yeah.
we couldn't find insurance. You have to do that within 7 days.
Yes.
A lot of people don't realize that either. So you're under a deadline for that.
Yes.
So all this stuff comes into play, and people that you really don't think about, they're there working for you. Mm-hmm. So it's really our job to kind of keep the team together. We're the general contractor,
Right? Yes. So true. So
So
true.
I think that's kind of interesting. But yeah. So tell us a good story, like a funny story, one of your fondest memories of,
Oh gosh.
maybe
There's so many.
a deal.
There's
Yeah.
so many.
I know.
So I think actually it was I wrote a love letter, and the love letters are actually illegal. I didn't know it. They're illegal. It was back when I very first got licensed again.
Okay.
And I had showed the property to it was just the husband or the dad that was available. And the homeowner, so this was an acreage, the homeowner was there, and she comes out, and this was the only house that she had ever owned. And her husband had died. Her kids were gone. So she was a widow out here. And she comes out and she said, I'm just going to go back to the garden. And I said, oh, okay. I'm like, you can sit inside. That's fine.
Yeah.
And it was in that springtime it was summer. And I said, well, if we have any questions, do you mind if we come ask? She said, yes. So we were walking through, and I said, do you care if she joins us for the last part of the tour? And I said, she's got such history with this property.
Right.
That would be really kind of nice to hear from her. And he said, yeah, that'd be nice. And so we're walking into this wood shop, and the buyer says, oh my gosh, like you could just see the tears welting in his eyes. He goes, my dad would have loved this. And it was all set up. He had just lost his dad, and I had no idea. And his dad was a woodworker, and her husband was a woodworker, and it was all set up as a wood shop. And she just, the joy in her face to see that he would really appreciate that. I'm like getting teary-eyed thinking about it.
Right.
It just melted my heart. I was like, this is the perfect property. So then we came back with his wife and their 2 little girls, and to hear the little girls outside screaming and giggling, and they were picking the berries off the bushes, and it was just like this little story. I mean, you can't even make this up.
It's a Disney movie.
It was like a Disney movie. Yeah. So they're picking out the berries. The wife is like, oh, we can do this. And they were talking about the different things they can do to the property. And I was like, this is so cool. And this is like transaction number like 2 or 3.
Oh, wow.
So it was like right at the beginning. And it had just fallen a deal before that had fallen apart.
Okay.
And the owner had said to me, I just don't want one of those darn Cedar Rapids agents coming back through. So she was mad at this Cedar Rapids agent. And I was like, oh, I sell in Cedar Rapids too. But
Did I mention I live in Center Point?
Right. And I've lived in Cedar Rapids at one point in my life too. So I was like,
Yeah.
And I was like, I promise you we're not going to be bad people to work with.
Yes.
We're going to face the facts, of course, of things that come up, but I'm not going to be nasty, because some agents can be really nasty.
Right.
And then we're getting ready to write an offer, and I found out that we're going to be competing against another agent. I'm like, oh, for the love. And I'm like, and I'm brand new. So I'm like, I don't even know what to do. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put it on a piece of paper. And I wrote a letter and had them read it over. And it was like a letter from them to her. And I was like, hey, this is what I observed when you guys were here. And I thought it was really a cool thing. And I think you'll be happy here for many, many years to come. And it also, it'll make her happy. Mm-hmm. And that agent called me, and she's like, wow. She goes, you won. And it was your letter. Oh. And I was like, now years later, now that I know that's like illegal.
I'm not sure it was back then.
I don't know if it was illegal back then either.
Yeah.
But,
I'm not sure.
But it was really cool to just see it all come together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And that's when you would do this for free.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Like the money doesn't even
It didn't
matter.
even,
I
yeah,
mean,
it didn't
yes,
even
we have
matter.
to
It was
pay our
just,
bills, but
yeah, it was like just the feeling of just knowing that the right thing was done,
Yeah.
you know? What about you? I want to hear a funny story. You have lots of funny stories.
funny. Well,
Yes.
when you were saying that one, it's kind of a more
Heartfelt.
heartfelt,
Yeah.
but I had been working with this couple for a while to get pre-approved and everything, and loved them. Like we laughed all the time when we were looking through houses and stuff. And they finally got approved. I want to say it took a year. And so we started hunting and everything, and we found the house for them and went through everything, and we were there doing our final walkthrough. And we were standing in the living room, and they both kind of looked at each other, and they said, "Can you imagine 5 years ago, all we had was a garbage bag full of clothes between us?" And I had no idea. And I mean, yeah, like you said,
Oh, yeah.
I had to like kind of, I was like, you guys have to understand what you have done. Like,
Yeah.
this is no small thing.
Big deal.
Yeah. So, and then you're like, pinch myself that I got to witness that, and just be there
Yes.
for them and do help them get there. And
Right.
I think it was interesting that they didn't say anything along the whole process. They never complained how hard it was to get pre-approved. It was like, okay, we'll get it next time. Well, you know what I mean? And just,
That's crazy that
yeah.
it's probably just really humbling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was, but
I had one that she didn't tell me that she was living out of her car.
yeah.
But I got wind of it like within the first week. I was asking her a lot of questions because I was like, something just is not right. And that's when a local lender came to the rescue and got like her credit increased, like really like went dug into the weeds to make sure that she could buy a house.
Yes.
And it's so important to work with local people.
It is. It is because they want their communities thriving.
Yes.
And they're going to go work for you 10 times harder. The deal that fell apart with me was an out-of-state lender. I couldn't even get her back on the phone to like try to figure out a way of saving this deal. She would not even take my phone calls.
Oh my gosh.
I've had local lenders meet with clients, tell them exactly what to do to get their credit score up. You need to pay this off, don't pay that off.
Right.
That's invaluable.
Absolutely. And when you can actually see that person across the table, you can
Yes.
shake their hand.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
and you know that the money's staying in the community.
And
you
I
know?
think that is huge.
Absolutely. Our community is not going to thrive if people continue to Amazon shop their loans, right?
Right. Oh, that's
to-
such a great word for it.
Yeah.
And that, we put our sign in our listings. We want people calling our signs to show the houses.
Right.
It's so important. Or if you ask your friends, who did you use?
Yes.
Did you have a good experience with them? Could you recommend?
Yeah.
Because, again, when you reach out to somebody local, they're going to work out 10 times harder for you.
Yes.
And it's just really important to, I mean, I did a lead source to kind of build up my business. And, you pay them, of course.
Yeah.
So that money leaves our community.
Yes.
And a lot of times people don't realize that. And really, until you're in it, I'm like, that does make sense now. Like, we want to keep all of our business here.
And I think that it's okay to pay for a lead source when you're new. Because, like, for me, it was like I didn't want to mess up on my close family and friends. And I hate to say it that way, but
I'll mess up on the total stranger. No,
right.
it's like,
I mean, it's a
you
little
wanna get
easier, but
experience
I wanted
under
to
your
build
belt.
my
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I did pay for a lead source too.
Yeah.
I paid for my leads for about a year and a half just to kind of get, and also Well, and also like your family's just watching, right? They're watching to see.
They are. They're
what
our
you're
hardest critics.
and they're the last one that will send you a referral, right?
Right,
Because they're
right.
just
Well, if my daughter messes up,
right.
I don't
It's a
wanna take
reflection on them, right? You're so
no, it is.
true.
It is. It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But then I was just pulling the stats on like, I guess I feel it's okay to do that referral source for a while, but then like really try to pour into your community, work with your sphere, get your name out there so that you can continue to pour money and continue to pour more money into the community.
Yeah.
Right. So even looking at, that was another number I came up with. Okay, here we go. If we say that like 35%, I just used a rough number, 35% of last year's inventory total sales was paid out to third parties, right? So we're saying like just a chunk of it. I mean, we're like hundreds of thousands of dollars that is going out of our community easily. So that's hard to see.
It is hard to see. It is hard to see.
So we're not spending, the money on the local restaurants and groceries and all of that. It's going God knows where, right?
And tax dollars. And
yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
So I know the MLS just on September 30th, we're going to do delayed marketing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So delayed marketing means that your listing, so when you go to sell your property, I'm trying to speak to like property owners, right? Your listing is not going to go out on these third-party sites right away. You're going to have a sign in your yard. People can call that sign in the yard, but they're not going to go out to these third-party sites. And I think what that means as a community is that it's keeping more money in our community if it sells, for the first couple weeks. Everybody's looking at the third-party sites, but there's other ways that we can get the word out through social media and through phone calls. We can still
agent to agent.
We can call the other brokerages. Mm-hmm. So we're still doing what we should be doing to get your property noticed, but there's just more of an opportunity to keep more money here when we have a delayed marketing situation. That's my personal opinion.
And how many days can you do that for?
They don't have a limit right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as the general public, I would think, I want mine on third-party sites. I want the whole world seeing my home. So, do you think this is going to be an advantage to the sellers too?
I think so. I think let's take it a layer deeper. And when your property gets advertised on these third-party sites, you're getting people that are walking through your property that are not pre-approved, that are just curious. They just want to go see that house. And they lie to the agent saying that they're really, interested. And so when they say click request, a tour or look, request agent, they're getting that random person. And it's just like, it's adding an inconvenience to them to get their property ready. We know that there's one site specifically when they push request agent and that person answers, they can actually schedule it. And I think that's crazy that they can actually schedule, like, let's say it's 10 o'clock. I want to go look at a house at noon. They can schedule it.
The third-party site schedules
Yes, the third-party site schedules
for the
it.
agent.
Yes, for the agent who doesn't even know that it's being scheduled for them yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's insane.
Yes.
So if you're a seller and you're sitting at home and it's Sunday morning and it's 10 o'clock and you get this notification, hey, somebody's coming through your house at noon.
Yep.
You're running around and cleaning and staging, and you have to get dogs, cats, kids out, and
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So the agent then goes in and do you think they're talking with the buyers, or are they just meeting them at the house?
That's a great question. I would think that most people would contact the buyer and just say, hey, just wanted to confirm our appointment at noon.
Sure.
Or on the other side, they're calling them and saying, hey, noon doesn't work for me. And then what happens, right?
Right.
Well, can we meet at 2, or can actually Sunday doesn't work for me, but I can meet you at 5 o'clock on Monday. So now this homeowner who thinks that their house is being shown at noon
Yes. Is getting a cancellation.
it's getting a cancellation, and they're like, just spent all that time.
Yeah.
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 Not good.
No, it's not. So again, back in, because I talked to a lot of agents, they would get sign calls all day long. Mm-hmm. And that's people driving by the house. They see it. They get their number off the sign. So this has really changed the way things are.
Absolutely.
I spoke this weekend with an agent. She put her personal house on the market, and she specifically asked for people to be pre-approved before they came and looked at it, which is what they used to do.
Right.
You used to have to prove that. And she had 4 showings scheduled right away. So she called each buying agent. 3 of the buying agents had never met their clients before, and none of them were pre-approved.
Of course.
And so out of the 4 showings, 3 were no-shows.
Fantastic.
So,
oh my goodness.
And I put yourself in that seller's shoes. Are you telling your listings this is what could happen too when you're doing a listing presentation? Is that something you've added into your presentation?
I've started talking about it more and more, and even talking to buyers about it as well, like at the beginning, just to explain the negotiation part of it too, because that's less money that they have to use for negotiation when they're having to pay 30% out. It's a crazy number.
Yeah. No, it is.
Yeah. So I think the delayed marketing is definitely going to could be a big benefit for that reason too. With that agent that's trying to sell her personal home, she wouldn't have had that.
Yes.
I mean, she'd be able to field the calls a little bit differently. It'd be less stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think too, I think it will bring us back to having more relationships with other realtors as well.
Yes.
I just took a law and ethics class last week. For
It's the funnest class to take.
It's so much fun. But our instructor made it fun.
Oh,
and
yeah,
of course,
he's
the
great.
people I was with were fun. But he talked, I think he's been in the business forever. And he just talked about how now we really don't even see each other, maybe even at closing. Lately, I've had the other agents not even come to closings.
Yes.
And it's
because they don't need to.
Such a disappointment, because I really want to shake their hand and say, oh my gosh, you were great to work with.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. And I think I've said when you're negotiating the IPI or whatever, and the other party's being stinkers and you're just kind of round and round, I think if we used to have to sit across the table from those sellers if we were buying a property. I think if we brought that back, there might be less of that. I don't know for a fact, but you know what I mean? Like when you do have to meet face to face at the end. And I think there's opportunity for buyers to ask about the house too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I feel like there's just more conversation that's had. We've been in the last, 10 years, like, there's a lot of texting. Like sometimes you can't even get an agent on the phone because they don't answer the phone.
Right.
And people definitely treat each other differently when it's face to face, or even the phone call.
Yes.
I've had several people be very rude on their phone, on their text messages, and then I'll just pick up the phone and just and the tone just gets changed immediately, because they wouldn't say that to me.
Right. Yeah.
But they'll text it.
Yes.
It's like social media, right? People just go out there and they put all this stuff out there, and you're like, what are they doing? But that they would never say that in person.
Yeah.
So why do it? Yeah.
No, I agree. And so hopefully with all of that, but I think, before, he talked about it too. Before, you got like one sketch of the house. So you got this book.
Yes.
You had to talk to each other. What's, how many, what is this house all about or whatever? The agent had to know about the house that they were selling.
Yeah. And even like, what's the smell?
Yeah, exactly.
That's something that you don't get on a virtual tour. Right?
No. And
Yeah.
so I think it's going to make a difference. I do. I hope anyway. And, I know it's just try it and see. I mean, most people probably will be, well, I want it out on everything we can get it out on. I get that too.
Right.
But I think once they understand what's happening, and especially if they have to live in the house while they're showing it,
Right.
I think that, if it's vacant and you don't care that 4 or 3 out of the 4 people are going to not show
Yes.
or cancel, that's one other thing. But if you're running around the house getting it ready,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You want your best foot forward. And so I think that's a big deal too.
Absolutely.
But, okay, so
Unbelievable.
Jamie, tell me your worst nightmare.
My worst nightmare. Oh gosh. It's kind of interesting to look at, like, I think every year, I think we talked about this before. I look at stats, right? And I look at like the top 100 and like think, gosh, who haven't I done a transaction with? And who should I be watching and maybe learning from? So I randomly invite somebody to coffee and be like, hey, just want to hear about your career. What worked, what didn't? Where do you see yourself going? It's such a good conversation we had. But I did that. Oh my gosh, it was like my 3rd year in business, and I was a little bit surprised. It kind of opened my eyes a little bit about not only just the competition, but some of the personalities they'd be working with. But I had one agent that was just extremely rude to me on the phone, and I just said, hey, I just wanted to kind of understand like where you've been in your career. I've seen you've been licensed for 15 years. I'm fresh. I would love to just have a cup of coffee and just hear about your journey. And she was just like, well, I'm really busy and I just don't really have much time for that. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, thank you.
So how has that changed your attitude now that you have?
It was a big shaping moment. Because
Yeah.
I was like, there is no way I would ever be like that towards somebody else. Like
Yeah.
if somebody called me and wanted to hear about where I've been, what I've done, what worked, what didn't work, I'd be like, yeah, let's go get some coffee. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Because we're all different.
Yeah.
And the way that I do something, they're going to do it a little bit different. I'm not scared of somebody taking my listing presentation because they're going to
present it different anyway.
They're going to present it different, and they're just completely different people. And it also just made me really look at like the top producers. Like I'm not saying they're all like this, but there's a good handful that I'm like, I don't ever want to be like that.
Right.
Because they're just not nice people.
Well, you know what they say, never meet your hero.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Yes.
And I think that's in every industry. Mm-hmm. I know I used to admire a lot of photographers from afar, and then when I got to really meet them and know them, it was like, oh, that's not what you project. You know what I mean? Or whatever,
right. You're really good with perception.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, I think it's important because you will eventually be across the table from them. Mm-hmm. And you want to have good relationships. That's key to everybody's success.
Yeah.
The worst thing I hate is when I have a client that tells me they've been burned by a realtor.
Oh, yes.
That's not something I want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a feather in my cap. That makes me sad for our industry.
Yes.
And, that's part of the reason I wanted to start the podcast too. I want to elevate our industry. We've taken so many hits right now out in the media.
Yes.
With how we're getting paid too much and by people that don't even know what we do. The guy with the lawsuit, I mean, he's never been on our side. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so there are such really good real estate agents out there too.
Absolutely.
And, I think I want us to have a good reputation, good integrity. And I think that's really important. Mm-hmm. So, it'd be interesting if you picked up the phone now and called that agent and said, do you want to go for coffee? I wonder if her attitude would be different.
I would hope so. I would hope so. Yeah, and I think professionalism over the last 10 years, it's just gone way down.
I think that's
Right.
in everything.
Yes.
I walk into my bank, the bankers are wearing flannels and ripped up jeans.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I'm older. And
Yep. I think it's a generational thing
It is.
somewhat.
It is.
I guess I kind of expect people to dress for their part. Have I showed up before with jeans and a ball cap? Yes. And I've told them, that,
Yeah, right.
hey, I'm going to be coming
I'm at
for
a
my
baseball game.
son's
Yeah.
baseball game and I'm going to be sweaty. I might stink. I'm sorry. But if we want to see the
Right.
house right now, this is how I'm going to show up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can go home, shower, and then we can look later.
Yeah.
Either one I'm fine with.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, just
Heck yeah.
come. We don't care.
Yeah. Well, and I think once they know that's not,
The norm,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's across the board with everything. I think, we, especially like with COVID when we were working from home and things like that, I always tell people I either go from super professional to like I look like homeless at home because I wouldn't go out on the front porch in it. You know what I mean?
Right? Yes. Yes.
But that's how I like to do it. That doesn't mean everybody does, but I also owned a clothing store and was in photography,
Right.
other things.
And you grew up in a family that owned a business.
Right,
And I did
right.
too. So
Yeah.
I think that was kind of ingrained in us that show up for the job you want, not the one you have, for
Yes,
one.
yes. Dress
And
for Success.
Dress
That
for
was a big book in
Success.
the 80s. I mean, it was, or
Yes.
90s. But,
Yeah.
and I feel better when I'm dressed up. You know
Yes.
what I mean? I feel better when I'm put together, I guess.
I do
And-
too.
Yeah.
I do too.
So
I'm not
think
going to
that's-
show up in sweatpants at
No.
closing. That's happened a numerous amount of times, like on the other
It
side.
does,
And I'm
yeah.
like, oh.
It does. And we touched on that in our law and ethics class too. And, a lot of people, not just realtors, but they feel like they're going to like me however I dress anyway.
yeah.
And maybe that's a better attitude to have than us.
Maybe.
Oh, I have to dress up for this coat of armor. You know what I mean? It's perspective. And I think we attract the clients that we are like us or whatever.
Right.
You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
Law of attraction. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
But no, that's a good point. So if people want to reach out to you, Jami, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, they can go onto Facebook, Jami Gordon Realtor.
Okay. Do you have a website?
I do. And it's jamigordon.com.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep it easy, right? But
Absolutely.
my name
Yeah.
has no E. I spell it different.
Jami.
Yes.
Gordon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you also your slogan is go.
Yes.
Jami, go Gordon.
Jami, go. Yeah. Go, Gordon.
Well, I want to thank you.
Yes,
This
thank
has
you.
been amazing.
Yes,
And I
thank
know
you for
your
doing
time.
this.
Yes, I
This
know
is
your time is
great.
valuable. And I really appreciate you taking the time this morning.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Addressing the Corridor. New episodes drop the first Monday of each month, so be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also find updates about the podcasts, as well as local real estate at crrealtor.com, or find me on social media platforms under the name Lisa Coots Schooley. That's Lisa, Coots, Schooley. Finally, whether you are buying, selling, or just real estate curious, remember, I'm here to help you make confident, informed decisions, one address at a time.